Larsson. Oh, he's in! Henrik Larsson! That is sensational! O'Reilly, how about that for a pass? Jota! How about that for a finish? That is Jota for you! In for Henrik Larsson, and Moravcik! His first goal for Celtic! Here is Shunsuke Nakamura! Exquisite!
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. It's myself, JP, and joining me tonight in this Monday night episode, it is the post-match Aberdeen chat. My good man, Daniel. Daniel, that's actually been a wee while for having a chat with you, mate. How are you? Hope you're well.
Hi, good evening, JP. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're all well and enjoyed yesterday. No bad, mate. You know what it's like, Christmas time, working away, so been a while since we have had a chat ourselves, but it was a good performance yesterday. And for me, it looked like a very positive sign, but it also proved that we do need some big caliber players brought in January to kind of steady up both ends of the park. Really excited by some of the build-up play. But either the defence is starting to show a few holes, and it's quite open for me, which I'm not really a fan of.
Obviously, there's been a lot made of the new manager coming in and the way he's changed things, etc. First and foremost, I want to say a very good evening to everybody that's joining us across the platforms. I hope you are all well. I hope everybody's had a great weekend and we're all looking forward to Christmas. I'll bring in some comments, I always do, and then myself and Daniel will get into the kind of nitty-gritty of yesterday. So Theo Isaac, he's in right away. Brian, you're in, me man. He says, evening lads, some positivity. Last January is massive, missing a top-class striker, and KT, who can't keep fit now, about 30 games. He was outstanding yesterday, starting to get better every game. Obviously, it's something I'm going to touch on tonight. Plunge, you're in as well. He said, well, we played well yesterday, and it could have been 10. If we can get 2 or 3 finishers, we will score lots. Obviously, the defence, he says, is still embarrassing. And James in also, evening JP, Daniel in the chat, was beginning to think JP had retired. Here's hoping yesterday's win was just a fluke. Definitely not retired, Ange. Just obviously really, really busy. I have mentioned previously about me having 2 young kids. So they're now off school. They finished school last week. So yeah, busy. Coming up to Santa coming. Barry Boy, good evening, mate, to yourself. Outsider, he says, creating lots, but looks so open defensively. Mark McDonald, you're in as well. Hail, hosts in the chat. Was a good of the team to provide a bit of Christmas cheer. Absolutely. Chris Murray, evening boys in the chat. Glad Celtic won and got the 3 points, but Wilfried is not for me. I quite like what you've done there. Obviously, he's put in Wilfried, as in the manager's not for him. Hail, boys and girls, from Celtic Boy. And Big Rab, he's in as well. He says, hail, evening big man and young man. What a way to put that. DM McDonald, he says, evening JP, Daniel, hope you're well. Good win yesterday, but not getting carried away. Deserved it, but we're far too open at the back and we missed too many chances. So overall, there seems to be an underlying problem, Daniel, that Ryan mentions it there about us missing, you know, a top striker.
Mm-hmm.
When I say a top striker, it's probably somebody like a Kyogo, you know, somebody that can score goals. And I think one of the comments here as well about us creating lots of chances, mate. I think that's spot on. And really, when you look at that, it's really good also to see us getting those chances. I know we were winning games under Martin O'Neill, but you know, some were saying that the football wasn't too good under Martin O'Neill. Some was saying that the you know the way that Celtic were playing wasn't the best. So overall, Daniel, what's your feeling with the new manager? While you're chatting just now, Daniel, I'm actually going to try and fix my audio because I'm getting some comments in saying that I'm a bit muffled and my audio's not the best. Bit early in the season to be talking about muffs, but we'll go into that later. But anyway, Daniel, regarding your thoughts, pal, don't worry, I'm still listening, I'm still here. But yes, fire away, mate.
I think the biggest thing for obviously myself and majority of the fans now is the fact that the football we're playing is we're seeing more and more a kind of a idea as the game goes on, and we're creating a lot of chances. It's just we don't have anybody of real quality to put the chances away right now, and it's very frustrating because listen, under Martin O'Neill we were scoring goals and winning games. The football wasn't great, but he managed to get a tune out of Johnny Kenny for a wee while, and now it's seemingly back to like pulling teeth watching him up front. It's as if all his confidence is just evaporated, and like you says, we need somebody like that, kind of a Kyogo type that just scores goals. But I think for the system that the gaffer's looking to play, it's a commenter says it as well. It's like you're more looking for a Giacomakis type there, somebody that can put his sail about, hold up the ball, but also be a threat in the penalty box. And for me, that's the type of striker that Celtic have been needing for a while, because Johnny Kenny has some good hold up play now and again, but he's cutting edge is it's hard to watch, man. So it's definitely interesting to see how it goes. But what I will say for the manager the new is that every game is a must win for him now because of the way he started. He's still got a lot of convincing to do, including people like myself, because I don't think he is the man for the job the new. However, hopefully yesterday is a turn for the better. But yeah, every game becomes a cup final for him now. And I don't mean to be cheeky or funny or anything, but he did lose his cup final. So every game is going to be of that similar importance for however long he's here, because as soon as the results take a turn again, it's all just going to flare up and there's going to be a lot of pressure. I mean, I don't know if anybody else had seen this, but apparently on Twitter it was being reported and stuff like that as well, that he had a meeting with the board and they said, listen, you've got 2 games to turn it round. And he gets the win yesterday, but if he goes and wins again, then we can sit and say, right, it might be getting a bit better. But if it plummets again, then he's got to go. And it's quite cutthroat, but that's the way football is. So I think in January we definitely need to bring in a top quality goal scorer who's also got a physical presence and can hold the ball up, because that's seemingly what the manager's looking for. And it is exciting to watch, mate.
How's my sound, guys? Is everybody okay? Can you all hear me clearly? Daniel, you okay with that?
I can't really hear you, mate, to be honest. Nah, you're away. very barely, mate. It's no. You might have to restart the old mic.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, there we go. And he's back.
Am I back, guys? Am I back? Probably better that I was muted or muffled or whatever. But my grab says it's the best sound JP's ever made. It's bliss, quiet. I do apologise, guys. I do not know what's happening tonight with these mics and everything else. But you know what it's like, technology. And when you're live, you can't, unfortunately, do anything about it. But I'm glad we've sorted that now. Yeah, obviously, you were speaking there, Daniel. I listened to everything you were saying about the Giakoumakis and yeah. I understand. I spoke to Ryan about this today, and I said we are missing a striker like that. Ryan, obviously, speaking, it's you know, I was speaking to Ryan today, and that's what he says about a lack of physicality. But for me, since Wilfried Nancy's come in, Daniel, and he's took over this team, I really feel that the team have showed, spurts of this football. I mean, it's people are calling it Ange-esque and, things in the chat there. Other people have said it to me, even at the games and stuff like that, when you're there. The football is really, really good. Like the combination play alone yesterday was absolutely tremendous. You look at the first goal, Yang, high intensity running, goes and presses the boy, wins the ball back. He slips it into McCown. McCown then plays a nice wee round the corner pass to Dyson Maeda, then across the box to Nygren. Nygren's there for a tap in at the goal. So the football's really good. You look at the goal for Forest goal. It's really well worked the way they manipulate it round the corner. And then it's cut back into Forest's path and it's a lovely wee side pass into the net. So it's kind of similar to Big Ange that way. I've actually really felt sorry for the manager. The way that he's been brought into, first and foremost, he's been brought into a club that's not in harmony. So we've not been in harmony since the summer, in my opinion. Not everything's been going well for us. We did have a spell there under Martin O'Neill where Martin was getting a run of games out of this team. But if we're being honest with ourselves, and I tried to touch on this at the very start before I started having mic trouble, the football wasn't tantalising. It wasn't great football. They were just getting results and getting it over the line. They were still trying to find moments, whereas Nancy's come in and he's trying to get players to be comfortable with playing more than one position. Now, I've heard people say about the big deal that's getting made about this guy's tactics board and, having a board on it. Can you pick, like, I said this to Ryan, imagine actually Celtic having the audacity to bring in a coach who actually likes to coach, and he actually just uses a coaching tool to coach. So I think that's terrible, Daniel. Could you imagine having a manager or a coach that actually likes to do that? I mean, how dare he? The old-fashioned saying that should be done in the dressing room. Absolute nonsense. Nonsense. Rubbish. So the big deal that's been made about that, mate, is just it's embarrassing, in my opinion. Totally embarrassing. What's no happened is this guy hasn't had results until yesterday. So that's went against him. We've also lost a cup final in the midst of that as well. So all of that has went against him. But he seems quite a strong-minded character, Daniel. He's also stuck in his ways that way. He feels that this is the best way that we're going to get results. But it's not just getting the results, because the way he talks, and if you listen to him, if we perform really well, then the rest is just a formality. It means you'll be successful. Whatever way we do things, you will be successful in doing so. And obviously the board in a really sticky patch there over 4 games. They came out publicly and they backed him. and they said, no, we're going to stick by this guy. But yesterday, I think you're spot on, mate. I think it was really impressive. I thought that was Nygren's best performance in a Celtic jersey yesterday, in my opinion. It's really good to see Daisen Maeda playing out on the left again. He seems to be really happy out there. But I get people's points. You know, we are wide open. But again, he's having to do it with a makeshift back three just now. Because, unfortunately, the squad that he's been left with, Daniel, there's not players there that can cover. So, he obviously doesn't trust guys like Simpson Puzzi, guys like Dane Murray, because he's not tried any of them yet. So, another one that people are saying is, you know, Johnny Kenny shouldn't have been in the team. So, I think when you look at it over there's been wee bits and bobs of this good football. Yesterday, I thought that was a full game we played good football for. And it's actually, see, when the problem just now is because we're wide open at the back, it's actually not looking well for what he's actually trying to do, because really what he's trying to implement is when we're defending, it's a back five, but when we're attacking, it's a back three. And I think people are just seeing that, and it's like, no, we're wide open. What I noticed yesterday, Daniel, was we conceded a goal, but previous games, 2 yesterday, we've conceded a goal and the heads have all dropped. That didn't happen yesterday, mate. And what I feel is if when now the team have won like that yesterday, albeit they won 3-1, but like Plunge says in the comments, it could have been 10. If it wasn't for the Aberdeen goalkeeper and the Framery goal, then that's a humiliation for Aberdeen. Plus, if we had a decent striker, you're then looking at a different thing altogether. Somebody in the form of Kyogo when he was a Celtic player, you know, or a Giakoumakis. So, but this isn't, that performance level for me was always there. It's always been there in his time there. What the trouble is he's not been able to piece it together for 90 minutes and keep it going. But with them winning yesterday, Daniel, somehow, mate, that just looks different now for me. I just think now that it could shift the mindset, because the players will now look at that and go, well, we can win. No, but we've got to win now. So could that change their mindset, mate, and the belief of this system, even with the guys that we've got just now, without the help of reinforcements in January, which is well needed, by the way, but could the players now look at that and go, right, game by game here, we can now start to adapt? And obviously the week of training now he's got, I know he'll give them a bit of time off for Christmas, but he's now got a full week to train the team and work with them on the training field now. That's something he's not had coming in, Daniel.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the biggest thing was obviously the run of games that he comes in with isn't a favourable run of games if you're trying to implement a new system. And the biggest frustration between myself and a good number of other supporters was he's kind of like having too much belief in his own system, and the fact that we lost a couple of games that we should never have been losing the way we did. And everybody's saying, surely you've got to change that and do it better, because the cup final defeat is nothing but embarrassing. And Ryan says as well, the back three is kind of it's that transition. We talk about the defending with the back five but attacking with the three at the back. It's the transition where we're getting caught, because it's the same yesterday that a team hits us quickly on the counter and it ends up in the back of the net. So it's for me, it's the transition play that needs to be kind of moved about a wee bit and worked on, because like you said, there is spurts of good performances, and then obviously yesterday we get a kind of a consistent run at that, but defensively we just look so weak, and it's as if some of them don't have a clue. But I come back to my earlier point that a win could be really good in changing the mindset, like you say, but they don't have the time anymore. They don't have that kind of a period to be a transitional team. Every game is a must-win for the rest of the season. You
Yeah.
could probably count out Europe because league's probably the priority now, but every single game domestically for Celtic this season is another cup final. Not even because of Nancy and the manager and the loss of games. The position we're in the league and stuff like that also plays a part in it. The atmosphere around the club as well and the disharmony and stuff like that. The only way that can kind of begin to get better is if we keep winning. But also bear in mind, there's quite a few people that don't want the board at the club anymore. I'm included in that. So it's a very tricky situation for the rest of the season, but we don't have time to be experimenting. I'll put it that way. We don't have time for that. We need to win games, and yesterday for me seemingly looks like a good start for that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it could be the springboard, mate, that really kicks this side under him into gear. Obviously, you know, you look at we'll talk about it defensively just now. You look at the defence, right? You've got a guy, Tony Ralston. He's playing right centre-back currently just now. He's got Austin Trusty, who, in my opinion, has been absolutely colossal since he's come into the team, even under Martin O'Neill. And then he's got Kieran Tierney starting at left centre-back. Now, higher in that, you've got Daisy Maeda and Yang. Yang's been really good since even Martin O'Neill was here, and Martin O'Neill gave him his opportunity. He's been really good since the Feyenoord game up until now. Obviously, Wilfried's come in and he's changed his position into right kind of wing back. I thought yesterday's intensity was really good. You know, it was all high tempo stuff. He was chasing. He actually starts that move that leads to the red card. If you look at Yang, he's pressing high in the field. The goalkeeper doesn't pass the ball properly over to the defender. And then the defenders get Maeda shooting up to really get right up in his face. Wins the ball, goes to run by him, the boy pulls him back, and it's a red card. So that high press and tempo, in my opinion, Daniel, that's been missing for a wee while, mate.
Mm-hmm.
When Aberdeen were on the ball yesterday, I just felt that it looked like 2 and 3 the Celtic players were round about them every time they tried to turn. It was like a pack of wolves going after them. And again, that was something new, considering we hadn't seen that under this team. So I agree with the slabbering cabbage here. There's been so much chop and change with the team, but obviously I do agree with this opinion. I think it's the experiment around about moving players here and there until he gets something a bit more settled. Now, for me, mate, the balance of the team yesterday, I thought, especially from the way things have been going, I think Luke McKeown's done really well over that left centre mid position.
Mm-hmm.
I know he gives the ball away, but Rio Watati gives the ball away. You know, and everybody thinks he's tremendous when he's on his game, and quite rightly so. But Luke McKeown, obviously, I thought some of his combination play yesterday and his interchanging with Nygren. And obviously, I want to touch on Nygren with you tonight, mate, and obviously get your thoughts on what I'm about to say about Nygren. But first and foremost, mate, I think the way he's moving players, I get the magnitude of games that that's in the calendar, but that's not his fault. If it would have been done the way Celtic wanted it, Wilfried Nancy would have been in at the last international break. Due to work permit issues and visas, etc., that was delayed. So again, none of this is Wilfried Nancy's fault, and everybody seems to be getting, cottoned on with, he's changing the team and he's doing. Well, Daniel, I would have disrespected the man if he came in and went with somebody else's tactics, mate. That's not what he coaches. He's got his own philosophy, his own way of doing things. He's got his own mind. He was brought to the club to change things. And this is longer term planning here. This isn't just in the short term. No disrespect, the man was a genius and he's been the best since Jock Stein. But the Martin O'Neill interim appointment, mate, was always going to be short term. It wasn't going to be a long term thing. So, and Martin's probably said that numerous of times since arriving back at the club. So for me, when you look at the Wilfried Nancy appointment, they're thinking long term. So I would have disrespected him, Daniel. I don't know about you, mate, but I don't think I would have thought too much of the man if he came in and just went, you know what, we'll just keep things the same. Because then what are the players, what are they going to learn off the man when he does come time to try and learn his philosophy? When would be a good time to implement that? Because every game for Celtic's a massive game, mate.
Yeah, definitely. But I think the thing in the mind of a lot of people is the fact that when he came in just before the Hearts game, he said, I'm not going to be changing it up too much. And then he did, and then we lost. So it's the kind of the contradiction of his sale in saying, I'm not going to do too much right away. And then he does, and we go on that obviously negative run of results as a result of that. So it's 6.5 a dozen really for me. Like, it's difficult. Both had their opportunities today, whatever. Listen, he seems very strong-willed in the fact that he's going to come in, he's going to do it his way, and that's his opinions and stuff like that. That's good if it goes well for you. But we seen the flip side of that straight away. Do you know what I mean? So it was a very difficult start for him. But I do tend to agree with Ryan here in that he didn't need to change everything straight away. You could have gradually done it, just to navigate that wee block of games, because that's maybe 3 of the biggest games of the season there so far, and you come out of them with no result whatsoever. So yeah, listen, I'm not saying he should have kept it like Martin O'Neill's way. It was just simply due to the fact that he did say, I'm not going to change too much straight away, and then he did. It's kind of because I would tend to agree that obviously the work permit situation and stuff like that, that's out of his control, and it is very unfortunate, but he does kind of need to, for me, take responsibility for simply alone saying, I'm not going to do too much, and then doing it. And obviously it took a bad turn. But listen, man, hopefully January's going to be absolutely massive for getting in the right guys and seeing what we can do. We've heard that they're looking to back him in January. Whether that actually happens or no, we'll just need to wait and see. But it's an interesting thing, and it's all we can really do is kind of sit and watch it play out. But yeah, for me, it's the sympathy was kind of running out for him the longer that run of games went on.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I get everybody's feelings. I really do, because I've been emotive with it myself, because I don't like watching Celtic losing. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. I don't get angry. I don't start going mental, and I don't go into like fits of rage or anything. It's no nice, obviously. It's no a nice feeling. When your team get beat and stuff. But I mean, I don't know if it's just me, mate. I don't know if obviously I'm getting older now, so I don't know if it's just me in terms of the way I am. But I've saw, I've saw glimpses in his 5 games so far of really good football and some positive stuff. I know some fans haven't, because I think the all round emotion around not winning and everything just clouds everything, Daniel. But when you sit back, mate, and you go and actually analyse everything, and you say, "Well, hold on a minute, we were actually good against Hearts in the first half. We could have been a couple of goals up if Maeda doesn't miss a couple of sitters. Engels headers that one straight to the goalie as well, and aye. So you look at that differently. Now, I know it's all I shoulda, woulda, coulda. You didn't get the result at the end of the day, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
But when you strip it all back, it's certainly not been as bad as what it's been made out of either. So no, I try and keep my emotions to the side, and I done a lot of due diligence on Wilfried Nancy, and we spoke to Jonathan Burns on here, and I had a right good chat with Jonathan even off the live and stuff. And for my own sanity, I was really glad that my research married up with what Jonathan was telling me. I've since now watched one of the viewers that watches us. He doesn't comment quite a lot. I think he's normally busy, but he catches it up. His name's Robbie. Robbie comments now and again in the podcast. He actually tagged me in something on Twitter today. And again, it was another guy who, it was like a podcast, but he'd done all sorts of research into similarities that he's already saw with what he's done in the MLS and what he's done here in such a short time. And what he was more or less saying, it's more impressive considering the injuries that Celtic have over in the MLS. He had a full bill of health, he had a full squad to choose from. But all the things I was saying, like the 3-4-2-1 and, the kind of box-shaped midfield. And listen, when you know the game, mate, that this was always there was going to be teething problems at some point. He could have come in and won the first 3 games, but then we started seeing, a draw or a defeat. Or there was always going to be a point where we kind of saw that, yeah, maybe we saw it. All right, it wasn't good for us, Daniel, watching it. We lost a cup final. We get beat by Hearts. We a chance to go to the league. Maybe it wasn't good for us at that time, mate. But what I'm saying is maybe we've seen that now. Maybe that's the blip out the way. Because I've always said it, mate. Tough times don't last forever.
Yeah.
They don't. It just, when you're in the mid-state, pal, it just feels as if it's gone forever.
Aye.
But looking more positively into the result yesterday as well, obviously 3 really good goals in my opinion. 3 well-worked goals, good connections, good build-up play. Daniel, do you think, and this is my tactical head telling me this is something I was thinking of just before we came on live. Do you think an option for this Celtic team and the way that he wants to play, do you think an option for this would be to take Johnny Kenny out? Now, this isn't a slight on Johnny Kenny. I don't want to be disrespectful. He's played the last couple of games now. He's missed a couple of really good opportunities. And you can see it affects him because his head goes, and he beats himself up about it. So maybe to take Johnny Kenny out and maybe try Nygren in there. Because technically his number 9's like a false 9 because he likes connections outside the box. But Nygren seems to, especially yesterday, some of his through balls and he's threading passes through the lines and his connection play was tremendous yesterday, Nygren. But he's good in the air, Nygren, as well. He wins headers, but what I've also noticed as well, he's really good with his back to goal. And he's a goal scorer, Daniel. And he's in the right areas at key moments, mate. He looks as if he's going to be one of those players when he develops this system under his belt. He looks as if he's going to be that. He's got that killer instinct. You seen it with the goal yesterday, mate. He was in the box. He's got that killer instinct to be in the right place at the right time. Now, I know Celtic fans have been unhappy with him so far, and he's been a kind of hit and a miss with a lot of Celtic fans. Do you think it would be an option to play him in that sort of role?
It's a difficult one, really, because although Johnny Kenny's really struggling to find the back of the net right now, he brings a physical aspect and kind of like his running power and his pace that Benjamin Negrin doesn't have. So I think in that, if you put Negrin in that position, you do kind of lose out on the effectiveness of that like frontline press, because he's really slow and it's like a big thing. His athleticism is a big has been a big letdown at points this season, especially in that midfield with like the running power and stuff like that we need in there.
Yeah.
He's kind of been lacking. So I think if you want to move him further forward into the front line, I don't think it would be in that position for me. Simply just down to like, he's a goal scorer and he's good in the air and stuff like that, but you can see how Wilfried Nancy is looking to keep that aggressive press with the front three, especially. And I don't see Benjamin Negrin being able to be a part of that. He is a very hit or miss player. For me, he is a miss player right now. I don't like him. There's no any slight on the guy himself. It's just there's been a lot of performances that have just really frustrated me this season. And don't get me wrong, the guy scores goals, the guy gets assists, but just overall, his lack of athleticism is really annoying to watch when you've got players run about him who have that kind of a desire, that kind of they've got the legs for it, basically. He does score, but the amount of chances and passes and stuff for him that go astray now, I don't know whether it's getting used to the system or still trying to bed in with the players running about him, because obviously he only joined us in the summer. But he needs to pick up for me quite quickly in that aspect, because he has had a decent amount of time now. I know obviously transitioning manager and stuff like that comes into play as well, but you're seeing the guys every single day, whether it's on that training park or playing the game. So you need to develop the relationships quite quickly for me, especially if you're part of the attacking unit, because like we've seen already, if you're no clicking all the time, people are going to start getting on your back.
Yeah, no, 100%. John Phillips was asking me there if I've managed before or I've coached. I have done, yes, but not at senior level. I done up to under 21s. We're going back maybe 10, 11 years ago now. But I also played the game. I was at Dundee United at youth level as well. So I've been involved with football, John, all my life. And Ryan thinks I'm mental at times. I see the game probably wacky to the way Ryan does. I'm a wee bit more, my philosophy and everything, if I had one, is a wee bit more like Nancy's, a wee bit more attack-minded. But no, maybe not so much the Berbatov idea there, John. But, you know, that kind of false nine for me, I think Negrin's tailor-made for that because of the way he's got a great touch. I think he's got a brilliant touch. And you seen that yesterday with I think it was Stuart Armstrong that was pressing him, and he takes it on his chest, but the way he takes it, Daniel, he just cushions it away for Stuart Armstrong. He just takes it away in the blind side of him, and he's off. And that allowed then Luke McCown to overlap the run, and that was another connection that we built in for midfield. Now that was out of nothing, mate, because that was out of Carl McGregor then pressing. He presses the boy Jensen in the side. And that came out of nothing, and then the ball goes high, Negrin pulls it down, and away he goes. So I just think I think he's tailor-made with his back to goal, and the way that, just as a stopgap, Daniel, no even to play, I'm not talking about to turn Negrin into a centre forward, that's not what I'm meaning here. I'm talking about a stopgap, mate, until we can get a number 9 in the January window. Yeah, I just think his link-up play, where he goes from mid-60s to the final third, and for that sort of, it's like a half position, it's like the 7.5, where he floats. I like that yesterday, Daniel, because he then allowed Luke McCown to invert into it was like he sort of inverted into an 8 when Engels Engels goes to the right, and then I quite like the fluidity of that. I want to see more of that. I want to see them together a wee bit more, because for me, Engels is unbelievable, by the way. his physical, the legs that boy has. I think it was one the boy Carlson was belting it down the right. Engels, he just tears after him. And then if he's no tearing after him, he's got Maeda up his backside going the other way. So you look at the boy Stuart Milne, the boy centre-back for, the boy Milne, centre-back for Aberdeen.
Yeah.
He's a ball-playing centre-back. Wasn't allowed to do that yesterday, mate.
No, exactly.
Wasn't allowed to. I know what you're saying about Johnny Kenny. Johnny Kenny's got that physicality where he can press.
Aye.
But I don't know if you watched Celtic were setting traps yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And it was around about the 7th minute I noticed this. And Yang went for right wing back right into the sort of right forward position.
Yeah.
But he then, see the boy Noster, it was like Yang was the main trigger press in the first 15, 20 minutes of the game. So it was like he was a one player trigger. And when he pressed that way, you watched Nygren moving over here, Engels moves over beside it, so that the lad basically couldn't play out into the sort of six for there. Now they never started, if you noticed yesterday, they never started Graham Shinnie. So Graham Shinnie's normally the one that slips into the pocket, takes the ball, a bit like Cal McGregor, takes the ball and tries to look up. They actually asked Stuart Armstrong to do that in the first 15 minutes. And after that, he was booked. And then he died out the game. But Armstrong looked like their best player yesterday, up until that point, Daniel. But see when that happens, mate, that's how you know Celtic are starting to get to grips with whatever he's asking them to do there. Because you just see it as fluent, mate. You just see it all happening. Yeah. See, when you're watching Aberdeen have the ball, Celtic allowed them to have the ball in the 18-yard box of their box. Once the ball then goes into the 6, that's when Celtic pressed. And it was like a one-man trigger. Yang went and then they all shifted over. But as soon as Yang went, they were looking to clip the ball round the side, but couldn't. Because then what happens is his Engels steps up to the right. He's there as a blocker, so the ball then couldn't be clipped in behind. And then Trusty shuffles over as well. So it was really good watching that, mate. I was really impressed watching that yesterday. And that's obviously something in the short term that's been worked on, mate. And it could be something we see more of, or maybe slight differences as we move forward.
Yeah, definitely, because there was so much put on him about changing it. And what I noticed yesterday, and I also seen something online after the game as well, is that obviously the first couple of games he was kind of looking to have like 2 attackers, and obviously with that 3, 1 was dropping in. But what I noticed yesterday, it was kind of they were all moving, like you say, that fluidity and moving about, and at times it was a 3 up front, and that's how the press did work more effectively. And like you said, Aberdeen couldn't really get out when the ball playing centre back. But yeah, I was really, really, really impressed with Luke McKeown and the role that he took up. And obviously, Arnie Engels as well was, for me, he's just come on so well this season. But he was actually in beside Cal McGregor. And then obviously McKeown was dropping in at times as well.
Yeah.
To allow McGregor to pick the ball up for deep and run. Because that's obviously what we've been saying. And we look so open when it's coming the other way.
Yeah.
But when you've got like Yang being the trigger press, like you say, and everybody's shuffling, if you've got a good quality team playing against you, they can find the gaps. If it's no quite 100%, the guys know what they're doing. So I do think that in time it could grow to be something quite impressive, but I think just in the short term, they know there needs to be so much more emphasis put on winning, and like he needs to find his team in the training ground, not really on the park for me, because for me, if he loses another game, everything's just going to go back to the way it was before. So he needs to do more work in finding his team on the training pitch rather than in games. But of course, in games is where everything gets tested. So
I
don't think Celtic should go
He's
for
doing a lot of work now,
Daniel,
in on videos with him. He's
Yeah.
doing. I know that for a fact. He's doing a lot of work through like watching a big screen, and he's talking to them about things. I think he's trying to teach them, obviously, what he done in MLS and show them bits and bobs of what he's asking them for. But this week, I think, could be a good week, Daniel, because he's got the full week now to Saturday to really work with the team. I know he's probably going to give them maybe Christmas Day off to spend with their families, but by the way, believe it or not, they'll be back in there on Boxing Day. So and they'll be in Christmas Eve as well. So you'll probably give them Christmas Day off. But what I will say, mate, is obviously going to McDonald's for your dinner must be. He needs to do that every week now, mate. If it's going to get us a win in the weekends.
Yeah, that was.
You seen the video? Tell me, because you looked a wee bit thing, mate. What do you see mean there?
No, I've seen the video. I've seen it, and for me, it was kind of it was quite strange. Do you know what I mean? I know, obviously, the atmosphere around the club and stuff like that, they knew, but when the guys with his family, like, put the phone away. Do you know what I mean? It's just, for me, there's
do you mean the video itself was strange? Not the actual Wilfried. No, I know. But I'm just wondering, I had this thought, and I said to Ryan, I wonder if that's the fitness team at Celtic Park. I wonder if they've been on to the big man about that, because obviously I'm not sure quite McDonald's is on the menu and the canteen, is it?
You'd like to think so, the size of Casper Schmeichel nowadays, but no, I wouldn't take Kyogo. I wouldn't take Kyogo. I think Celtic need to move past the Ange era. There's a lot of players who seemingly, for me, are coming to the end of their cycle, who joined under Ange and stuff like that. So Celtic need to look forward. Listen, if he does come back, then I think it would, and he does do well, then I'll applaud it. But for me, there's been too many mistakes made in recruitment, and it's seemingly a bit lazy in the re-signing players. Like, there's a few obviously quality players in Tierney and Jota who done well after they left Celtic, but when you watch Furuhashi, he's fair half major, and obviously his age is a big factor. But no, I would not take him back, because the manner in which he left the club, for me, means that his time was up and he wasn't there for it anymore. And we need to look forward and go and find a young striker that can put the ball in the back of the net for fun.
Yeah, there's a couple of comments came in over the last couple of days, Daniel, prior to even the game yesterday. There's been chat regarding a certain man that we're all well aware of. I mentioned him earlier in Kyogo. There's been chat about a possibility of Kyogo coming back up the road, but with Yang going to Birmingham in the up-and-coming January window, mate. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, we knew that Yang was meant to go to Birmingham earlier in the season, and then all that happened. But personally, I wouldn't want it, because the guy made it pretty clear that he'd done his time, and this is what I said when he was leaving. There was nothing left for Kyogo to give Celtic. He'd done his time. He scored us a barrel load of goals, and it's just no the type of transfer that looks to be one to benefit the team. It looks to be one that's, let's get the fans back on board by signing somebody that they used to love, because I come back to, like, it's different with Tierney and Jota. They're guys who've went on to do exceptionally well after leaving the club. While being, like, they've left the club and went to a new level, and then we've managed to actually get them back in the door. But yeah, just watching Kyogo go off the boil, for me, it's no one I'd be looking to do. I think it's a really sad situation we're in right now, and that we can only let Yang go if we get at least 2 or 3 quality people in the door. I'm not saying Yang's quality, far from it. He has been doing well recently, but the holes in his game are massive. So, yeah, for me, it's just one of the things that if that is the deal, then fair enough. But it just kind of looks a bit lazy to me if it was to happen. But yeah, Celtic need to strengthen, and it needs to be guys that can play his system.
Were you of the same opinion when Celtic re-signed both Kieran Tierney and Jota?
Of what opinion?
Obviously, when you said it seems lazy and like you've kind of more or less said going back the way and stuff like that. It's been well said in the chat there as well. A lot of folk on the for that. He's went away. He's only scored the one goal for Birmingham. He's not had a great time. He probably didn't have a great time of it in France either. But I'm just interested, where the fans of that opinion when we re-signed Kieran Tierney and Jota?
Well, I think
that wasn't just to go, by the way. That was a kind of general. That was to get a general census of.
Well, Ryan did comment on it when the two transfers happened, that no disputing that the guys coming in the door are quality players, but it is kind of a lazy recruitment. Obviously, if it benefits the team, by all means do it. But you don't want to fall into the trap of just re-signing people, because then it becomes, although the guys are quality, then it becomes, I will just get him back and see what he can do. And then if he doesn't do it, then you're left wanting. Do you know what I mean? We need to kind of a move. Everybody still, do you want to know? In my opinion, I think because Ange, for me, had a lot of unfinished business ways, everybody kind of wants to reminisce about that time. And if the guys that have left now, if you bring them back and stuff like that, we need to move on now. Like if if Ange was going to come back, he would have done it. So the squad needs to move on and enter a new kind of an era, and that's how not only January but the summer. I've said that a few times. The summer is going to need a big rebuild and the kind of a core of the team. So yeah, I do still think it was lazy recruitment and bringing Jota and Kieran Tierney back. My personal opinions are on my side. Love them. Fantastic footballers. But yeah, as from a strictly recruitment process, I do view it as quite lazy.
Do you think the system that we're playing, obviously, I've heard quite even my dad and that people have mentioned it's similar to Ange. Do you think the system that we're playing on is something the wee man would flourish in?
Well, I'm not really too sure, because when we watch this new kind of a thing, I think the difference between Ange and this system is that kind of a false nine that you've commented on. Like Kyogo really struggled playing that role, and that's obviously how we had guys like Giakoumakis and stuff like that. Kyogo was always one that his biggest success came for the ball in behind and the ball at the top. So I think the system that Wilfried's looking to play, if he comes back and he changes it or anything like that, Kyogo might well flourish, and I'll hold my hands up. But I don't think this variation of that system would suit Kyogo, because I think it's more suited to a kind of a Giakoumakis type, like I've said, that can hold the ball up, get on the half turn easily, and have a physical presence as well as that kind of a running power and threat in the box.
No, fair enough. I've seen comments coming in saying that there's certain folk in the comments tonight that have also said that, Kyogo's not for them and they wouldn't want to go down that road, etc. There's no doubt he's had a wee bit of a torrid time regarding his move so far over in France, and now at Birmingham, it's not worked out well for him moving on. Who knows? Kyogo might look to go back to Japan after when it hits the January window. We don't know. But yeah, I think you're spot on, Daniel. I do think there'll be a bit of a rebuild, even if it's going to be Wilfried Nancy that stays with us and we start winning. If he starts winning games, he'll be here. It's that simple. But But it's a big window. January window to get us kind of started there. I do think we need 1 or 2 defenders in as well, due to the amount of injuries that we do have. Cameron Carter-Vickers will not play until next season now. So yeah, I do think, you know, we've got a big couple of windows ahead. But obviously January's just around the corner. We don't know. We don't know what's in store for us. I would like to see us get business in early. I really do. I hope to God we've learned our lesson for the summer, and we are. You know, like you've said, Michael Nicholson's going to back this manager. He's looking to get on board with him, and so I really hope maybe there's 1 or 2 players in the even the way they did with Big Ange at the turn of the year and Hugmanese, and we had the 3 Japanese boys. Maeda, Hatate, and Idaguchi. That was the other boy. We had them announced in Hugmanay before before we'd even said Happy New Year to people. So here's hoping of maybe we get something like that in store, and they can get in and, you know, maybe even make their debut in the up and coming derby we've got. That would be nice. Because I know other teams, Hearts, them across the water, they'll be looking to get players in, and so overall, mate, it was good to get a win. Looking forward, mate, just obviously before we finish up, looking forward, what are you looking for? You're looking for more of what you saw yesterday and obviously building on that, or are you looking for something else?
No, definitely. It's just building off the back of yesterday and kind of keep working with what we've got, and let's, like I've said a few times tonight, every game going forward has so much more emphasis on being a must-win game now in this run of games. So, yeah, more of the same, and just because the football was impressive yesterday, but the only difference is we need to start finding the back of the net with these chances, because although we had a lot of possession and a lot of shots, you can have as much of the ball as you want. The only way you win the game is by putting it in the back of the net. So we need to start hitting the back of the net more. But hopefully that's just something that needs worked on, whether it's player confidence or one wee thing left to click. But yeah, man, just merry the same for yesterday and just get back to scoring barrel loads of goals.
Yeah, I'm the same, mate. As long as we can use yesterday as a springboard, hopefully. And, you know, if we create chances early enough in games, like you says, we're taking the chances. It's 2-3-0 before the team's even woke up. And by that point, mate, the game's away for you. The game's gone. The game's been took away for you. And I really do hope that that's going to be a case under Nancy. I really hope that's what he's looking to do. Start games really fast, a bit similar to Big Ange. We start games really, really fast and be 2-3 up at half time in some of the games, because if you do that, mate, you're just taking the games away from people before they know what's going on. So yeah, I mean, Livy's always a place where we go, and sometimes we have struggled, and sometimes we've won well. So it'll be interesting to see. But Daniel, thanks very much, mate, for coming on and having a wee chat with us tonight, mate, regarding yesterday and obviously your thoughts. It was good to see you, actually.
Yeah, definitely. It'd been a while. Thanks to everybody that's tuned in with us on this very cold evening. And a big happy Christmas when it comes, and a happy New Year to everybody as well, if I'm known before then. But it was good to get on and talk about a positive result for a change. So let's hope it's more of the same heading into the new year, and we actually see the backing in January.
Yeah, 100%. And as Daniel says, folks, thanks very much for you guys tuning in across the platforms as well. on this Monday evening. As Daniel says, it is pretty nippy now. The weather's took a wee drop in temperature. But yeah, it's been good to get on, get a wee chat with you guys as well, get your thoughts on the games, and obviously your thoughts on what's going on at Celtic. I won't be on now, so I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas when it comes to you and your families. And as Daniel says, a Happy New Year. I'll not be on before Christmas, that's for sure. I do think the lads, Ryan and Alan, are on tomorrow, if my memory serves me right. I'm pretty sure Ryan will update the social media and the YouTube channel as well. Yeah. Stay safe, take care, and we will see you all again on the next one. Hail, hail. Bye-bye.
Sets up Larsson here. Larsson. Oh, he's in! Henrik Larsson! That is sensational! O'Reilly, how about that for a pass? Jota! How about that for a finish? That is Jota for you! In for Henrik Larsson, and Moravcik! His first goal for Celtic! Here is Shunsuke Nakamura! Exquisite!